This is Let's Talk Teens, a parenting podcast sharing tips on raising amazing teenagers. We are both certified life coaches that have worked with teenagers as coaches, mentors, and teachers. We are sharing what we have found to work best when dealing with teens and tough issues.
Hey everybody, this is Let's Talk Teens with Abby and Cheree, episode 48. What do you do if your teen hates school?
Cheree, I thought this would be an appropriate topic here right before we start school because I hear often from parents that they are very concerned that their son or daughter hates school.
Yeah, definitely one I hear a lot too.
And I think as a parent, it can be very alarming. And, for good reason. There's actually a lot of research that suggests that not liking school, but also not doing well in school is actually a risk factor for our youth, putting them at risk for delinquency, drug use, depression, drinking underage, right? Low self-esteem, all those things that we don't want for our child. And I
Mhm.
sometimes don't think we equate that with oh, they don't like school, they're not doing well in school. And so I wanted to share a couple ideas on what you can do if your son or daughter in junior high, high school hates school and what you can do about it as a parent.
I love this because I think you're so right. It's more than just the whole school, the academics. There's so much more to this, so much more.
Really, like school, we have to go back because, oh, Cherie, I will never forget the day I finished college and it kind of felt, it was cathartic, but also like, you just left campus that last day, like that your last class was, right? And it just was so, I remember driving home and going, I'm done. Like I never have to commute because I commuted up to Weaver State University. I never have to come up here again, right? Like, and it's such a weird feeling. So we have to put ourselves back in that spot of school is everything, that social circle. This is your friends, this is your environment, this is your job, for lack of a better word, for, a youth and a teen. And so what do you do when your teen's like, oh, I hate school, right? You're talking about back to school. It's not excitement, it's just kind of dread. Well, the first thing is to just brush off some of that angst and steam that every teenager says at some point in their life that they hate school. Like, I just think that's an important mindset to have as parents. Not that we're brushing off their feelings, but we're not going to press the panic button. Okay. Every kid's had a bad day at school. Every kid has had a year where they're like, Mom, oh, I don't want to go to school, especially I have found, and you tell me if you think this is true, Cherie. I have found major transitions. So going from sixth grade to seventh grade here in Utah, that's our leap to junior high, or going from ninth grade into 10th grade, which is our leap to high school. That is a scary, scary, scary transition. And you are going to get a lot of angst. Maybe not, maybe your teen's not going to push back as much as they're going to be sad. They're going to say, Mom, I really don't want to go to school. I'm really freaked out. And just don't let that tank you emotionally as the parent, right? We are the rock and the pillar.
Oh, I love that. As you're talking, I'm like, yeah, it's so when they say I hate school, what they're really saying is I'm worried about the social pressure. I'm stressed about failing. I'm feeling overwhelmed. There's so many things to navigate. They're not just like, I mean, we think, oh, I hate school. And I think as a parent, we quickly go to that, okay, they don't want to learn or they just aren't good at school. And we really make it about school. And I think we have to look at that. I hate school is a little bit of noise for a whole bunch of other things.
Mm-hmm.
And so what if we as parents, if we can take that like I hate school as okay, like I'm not going to focus on those words of like I hate school, but focusing on okay, there's a lot going on and they're feeling some big emotions and there's a lot they're navigating. And this is my chance as a parent to step back and really listen and be their safe spot and not get overly worried about it actually being that they hate school.
Yes. And that goes perfectly with the second tip, right? So we're not going to freak out, right? We're going to know, hey, this is actually very normal. Just like how you and I, there's some days we wake up and go, "Ugh, I don't want to go to work, right? Like we have days like that too, right? So we're going to go, okay, this is normal. It's not freaking us out. Second thing is we're going to ask open-ended questions in judgment-free zones. So just like you were saying, Cherie, this typically, I mean, it could be about one thing at school, but it's typically a bigger picture of I'm nervous about this big transition to junior high. My friend group changed. Maybe half of my friends are going to a different school. Maybe I had a breakup this summer, right? And I haven't been asked to homecoming yet, right? Like all those things. So as a parent, we want to come from a judgment-free area and just say, okay, tell me more. Like, what are you nervous about? What excites you about school? Um, what's going on, right? And if we can come from that true sense of judgment-free, our youth is way more likely to open up to us about more than just, I hate school, leave me alone, mom, slam the door, and go, you know, I'm really freaked out because I didn't make the basketball team and now I don't know who I'm going to hang out with, right? So we can start to get more of a conversation going and get more informed as a parent.
Which not just informed as a parent, as you're talking, I'm thinking about all my clients who they don't really even themselves know why they hate school, or they don't really know what's going on inside of them. And they need to verbally process that and figure out what is the root of their problem, why they hate school. So, as a parent, if you can offer that safe space and be like, tell me more, tell me why you hate school. Let's just kind of investigate it. Let's just get curious about that. Then they get to talk it out and figure out, oh, this is what's going on. This is what's really bothering me, which helps them have clarity to the situation, which then helps them face it so much better. I love that.
And your teenage daughters are going to be way better at that than your teenage sons are.
For
And
sure.
that's just brain chemistry. That's just, their mode. And so that's okay too. If you're like, I really can't get my youth to talk to me about this, right? We just keep, not bringing it up incessantly, but like, okay, we're back to school shopping. Tell me about school. What are some of your thoughts, right? Like, we can kind of spread this out over some time. We don't have to have a one conversation and done. But talk to them, right? Talk to them judgment free and just be open minded to what they have to say. Now, my third piece of advice is to change what you can. So I had an experience my sophomore year of high school. I've always been like this, Cheree, but I am like let me load my schedule as heavy as possible. Let me take every AP class I possibly can, right? Which has served me well. But as a sophomore, I remember just the luck of how my schedule was. All of my hard classes, my AP history, um, my math class, my English class, like all those core curriculum classes fell on A day. And then B day was kind of more my fun, like, oh, here's theater, here's a computer class, like some of those more easier, lighter loads. And I just remember that was so overwhelming for me as a sophomore to just, I'm navigating this new scene of high school, but A days, like I would get up and I would like physically feel that stress of like, okay, here we go. And it wasn't so much like then I was like, oh, I hate school, but that was such a burden. And so when, maybe your youth is saying, Mom, my schedule feels so heavy, let's go in and change what we can, right? And I get sometimes we can't drop a class mid-semester or something like that, but can we slice up the load so that it's not just on one day? Can we help them navigate clubs if they're worried about friends? Like, start to look into what can I actually change? Now, Sheree, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, but I'm a big believer in I don't change the massive pieces of the puzzle for my teen in that if my teen's like, I just hate school, everybody at school hates me, I have no friends, I'm not going to get a boundary variance to take them to a new school. I'm going to save that for extreme measures because I think that's a really awesome solution when we need a really extreme solution. But if my teen is just kind of general, like, oh, I just don't like school. Well, let's change what we can. Let's switch up some teachers, let's switch up some classes, but I'm not going to go to extreme measures because I want to help them thrive where they are.
Yeah, and giving them the opportunity to find solutions to the problems and to work through those. I mean, I think that's such a gift to give to your children instead of just pulling them from an experience that's hard, is really teaching them that resilience and that fortitude, and that they have the ability to change, like what can they change and what is in their power instead of, just being like, I can't handle this. Let's move schools. I think you're spot on that. And I would do the same. It's like, okay, there's some things we're collecting the data here. There's some things that are really overwhelming you and that are really hard. What can we change and what can we do differently? What can you do differently? How can we make this work for you? Instead of having it happen to them? How can we have it help them? Because it will later be a gift to them in the workforce, in their future life, and careers and family, to learn how to work through and find resolution.
Yeah, we don't quit when we're hard, right? We're not going to say, "Well, you can just stay home and I'll homeschool you," right? No, we say, "What can we do?" Right? Because I feel like that's true of anywhere. Like in my job, what can I do to make this more fun and enjoyable? Okay, I've done what I can and now I'm going to go to work. And that's my last tip, right? Of let them navigate this. Now, I
Mhm.
am a big believer just because of how strong the research is about your child needs to feel successful in school and they need to feel like, hey, I'm good at this, right? It's the equivalent of us feeling like I'm good at my job, right? Or at least I make a contribution. And so that might mean, hey, we've dropped an AP class. We're just going to do a regular load this time. We've switched around some teachers. We're trying out some new clubs. And now I'm going to let my teen navigate this. And I can feel confident in that as a parent because I've covered my basis of they're not getting bullied, right? There's not a horrible situation happening. And we've lightened the load or shifted it around or done what we can so that they have an opportunity to succeed. And now we let them stretch those adulting muscles.
Oh, I love that. And it is really finding the balance, isn't it? And I'm not saying it's easy because I look back at when my kids were in high school and junior high, and there were some times that I felt like I needed to step in, and there were times I definitely felt like it was theirs to overcome and become stronger. And there was times I maybe would do it differently now. But I think we just as parents realize that, this is learning for them and this is learning for us. It's learning to let go and give them the reins a little bit more. And it's learning to listen to our gut when we do need to step in. But really, really allowing them. I love what you said about, really working those adulting muscles. I think that's I think it's the best gift we can give our kids.
And you made me think of this last story that I'll close with. Maybe this will be some comfort to my parents of preteens and teens in junior high. So I'm teaching high school, right? And my friend who I actually knew, she was teaching junior high. And we were talking about teaching, right? Kind of sharing our horror stories, our best stories, right? And I said, don't you think junior high is like the perfect age? Because they're like adult enough, but they're still little kid enough that they just love you. Like in elementary school, you just loved your teacher. And I'll never forget what my friend said. She's like, Abby, it is just the opposite. She's like, you can be an incredible teacher at junior high, but because of the immaturity of just that age group of like puberty, of just how awkward every kid is, those those youth won't admit that they like you. So you might be an amazing teacher, but they're not going to tell their friends like, "Oh yeah, I really like Mrs. Winslow," right? I think she's a good teacher. Unless you're the most like boisterous, just fun, kind of teacher personality, which every school has one or two. But even if you're just a good teacher, they're not going to like you, right? Whereas in high school, they're mature enough that you're going to hear from students like, yeah, Mrs. Winslow, she doesn't play like a ton of games and stuff, but like she's a really good teacher. Like she really knows her stuff. Like you can start to appreciate that. And so if you have a junior hire and they're like, I hate my math teacher and they're a creep and this and this and this, just please note there's so much rhetoric that goes on. Like they pick that up from friends and then they just pass that along. And so my heart goes out to all junior high teachers because I just feel like you can't win. Like you could be an amazing teacher and you just can't win because of where the youth are mentally. So parents, we hope this helps you out. We wish you the best of luck with the new school year. We've got some episodes to help you out on our podcast. So we can't wait to see you in our next episode. Thank you for listening to Let's Talk Teens with Cheree Murdock and Abbi Winslow. If you are looking for more tips to help your teenager, here's where you can find us. You can find Cheree Murdock on Instagram at Cheree Murdock Coaching or on her website, ChereeMurdock.com. You can find me, Abbi, on Instagram as Abbi Winslow or on my website, AbbiWinslow.com. Please rate and review our podcast and share with a fellow parent. Thanks for listening.